Now, the latest ITV News. It's Wales at 6 with Andrea Byrne.
On Wales at 6. If you're a patient who needs specialist care but you've been told it's not available on the NHS here, the rules are changing. We speak to one man who says the new system would have transformed his care.
If it's going to benefit your life, obviously, then that's a good step forward, I would say.
Also tonight, Welsh police reissue seatbelt warnings as it's revealed thousands of us still aren't wearing them. Plus, peer pressure just years after a multi-million-pound refurb. Questions over the future of Penarth's historic pavilion. And from Llandudno to Lords, meet the disability cricket team going from strength to strength. Good evening. When you're admitted to hospital, you expect to be given every treatment which might help you get better. But for many people in Wales, there are times when that treatment simply isn't available, in which case doctors can apply for it to be made available. It's called an individual patient funding request, and as our health reporter James Crichton-Smith explains, how it works is changing.
Disgruntled.
Inconsistent at times.
Second-class NHS system. Smoke and mirrors.
We've spoken to many people over the years who've shared their views on the challenges of trying to get the treatment they need in Wales, despite it being available elsewhere. Most recently, we met John Prescott. He needed a pump called an L-VAD fitting to his heart, but it wasn't something routinely funded here.
Wythenshaw have said we have the L-VAD, we'll fit the L-VAD, and you can go back to normal duties, which even working again, you know, in my profession, which I thought was brilliant. And then, you know, of course, the Welsh NHS have said no, we won't fund it.
But a U-turn meant John got the operation he needed. The process to get it, though, wasn't straightforward.
It wasn't an easy battle. You know, the stress involved and being confined at hospital, it's like you're limited on what you can do. You know, you can't just get in a car and go to town and fight a case.
But now the process, known as an IPFR, Individual Patient Funding Request, is being made simpler. As part of that, patients like John and doctors will no longer have to prove exceptional circumstances. Decisions will now come down to whether the treatment needed would be clinically effective and offer value for money. It's always been a balancing act.
Every single person who goes through this process, where they have a yes or a no on a treatment option, is in a really difficult place. And most of the time, who can blame someone who wants the best possible prospect of recovering or the opportunity for a short period of extra life, if that's what it means for them? So none of these are easy choices. They will always be sensitive. I still expect them to get raised with me, but we think we've got an improved system and other parts of the UK are interested in what we're doing today.
Ultimately, for patients, the changes over how decisions for treatment are made are intended to give clarity, and that's something it's hard to put a price on.
Well, James is here. James, this could affect a lot of people. What other changes are there to individual patient funding like this?
Well, Andrea, this is the full interpatient panel funding review paper. In it, there are 7 different recommendations. We talked about exceptionality in my report. A couple other ones just to pick up on, though. One was around the clarity of commissioning. Essentially, doctors themselves were unsure of how to get the best treatment for their patients. In some cases, that meant going down the IPFR route when perhaps they didn't need to. Another point to pick up on also is the consistency of the IPFR route. They were saying that, for example, in I suppose most crude terms, if you had a patient in North Wales with a particular condition, one in South Wales with the same condition, there might be 2 different outcomes. So, and that was partly down to commissioning, partly down to exceptionality. So trying to create a level playing field was the best thing. Of course, this is something that is seen as a largely positive thing for the people of Wales going forward. The plan is to get all of these different recommendations implemented by September.
We'll see what happens. Thanks for reading through that report for us. Thanks, James.